Hello, everybody. My name is Charlie Strobel. I'm the Director of Product Experience here at Ad Astra, and thanks for joining me for our session on Align with Schedule. Before we begin, I want to focus a little bit on this statement: graduate more students faster. At Ad Astra, this is our North Star. This is what we measure all of our product decisions, all of our service decisions on. When we make decisions about who is Ad Astra, what do we do, and who do we do it for, this statement is always at the forefront of our minds, right? Everything we do, we always measure it against, are we doing this in order to help students graduate and realize their dreams? Okay, so as we talk through Align with Schedule and talk through anything essentially here at Aspire, it's important for us to all recognize that, we are making the decisions that we make to effectively help students get through school on time, get their credential, and then get out into the world to better themselves and better their families. So a question that I'm quite confident everyone's asking in the audience is Align with Schedule a replacement for Astra Schedule? I wanted to get this question out into the open right at the front and answer it for everybody. The answer to that is no. Astra Schedule is not going away. It's going to be around for a long time. What Align with Schedule is a persona-based experience that brings a subset of the features that you can do in Astra Schedule and brings it into the Ad Astra platform so we can enhance the planning process of schedule changes. Okay, so to be clear, Align with Schedule is not a replacement of Astra Schedule. It just offers some Astra Schedule-like features and experiences into the planning products for Align and Align with Predict. So I wanted to sort of touch on that really, really quickly. I mentioned persona-based experience. So what is a persona-based experience and how do you design it? For us, persona-based experiences amounts to this top definition, right? Their user experience is focused on delivering value based on our users' needs, experiences, behaviors, and goals. So when we are embarking on a new product, in this case, Align with Schedule, it's very important for us to answer these questions. It helps us answer the question of what is the purpose of the product, what are its goals, for the folks who are going to use it, what are they motivated by, what are they looking for, what are they trying to do, and how does it help fulfill their needs, right? So as we pull pieces of the scheduling experience, things we know pretty well, like the calendaring experience, creating sections, editing sections, modifying sections, et cetera, into the planning experience, we really center those decisions around the people that we believe are going to be using the product and solving their specific needs. Okay, so I wanted to frame the conversation with this context, right? Because what this is helping us shape what from our schedule product gets brought into the planning process, right? Because we're focusing on the users who are engaged in that planning process, that play a role in that planning process, and offering the schedule functionality that they are going to need to complete that job. So if you look at our scheduling process linearly, which we know it's an ever circling process really, but if you look at it linearly for a second, we have the strategic schedule planning with Align and Predict that kind of sits at the forefront of the planning phase, right? This is where you're deciding, should we add sections? Should we remove sections? Are we properly meeting student demand here? And then at the end of the process, you have registration monitoring with our Monitor app, right? Where you can see in real time, how are my courses filling? Are they filling too slow? Are they filling faster than they have before? Are the courses under threshold or over threshold as far as enrollment is concerned? Those products sort of sit on either side of the process. Now, there's a missing link right in the middle, which is the implementation of the schedule planning decisions, right? So this is the gap that we're going to fill with Align with Schedule. Align with Schedule will allow you to implement the decisions that you're making in Align and Align with Predict in real time. So as you're planning, you're able to make those modifications to the schedule and ensure that the resources that you'll need to implement those decisions, you'll have your hands on those resources as you're doing the planning to ensure that you're making scheduling decisions that you can actually implement and fulfill. So why align with schedule? Why are we starting here with schedule functionality? Well, to put it simply, we want to bring strategy and implementation together in one holistic experience. Okay. It will enable you to make scheduling decisions when you're editing or adding or canceling sections. It'll enable you to make those with that are data informed decisions, right? So we've got all this data that's backing up the plan, right? Whether it's student data or historical enrollment data or all the data that we use to populate our recommendations, right? So all of that data is sitting here in the planning tools. And we want to allow you, when you're doing the schedule implementation of that, to take advantage of all of that data. So if we can bring schedule functionality into this experience, we sort of get the best of both worlds, right? We get the planning and the data, or the data that's driving the plan, into the same experience as the resourcing that you need to implement that plan, right? So we want to bring those close together, because the truth of the matter is, the folks who are doing both sides of that job are often doing it collaboratively, right? There's a back and forth there. There's a conversation going on there. And so let's bring those folks into one experience so that they can both do the job while having a good understanding of both sides of that coin, right? The planning of these changes and the implementation of them. And of course, when you're planning, it's hard to make decisions if you don't fully understand whether you have the resources or not to implement your plan, right? So bringing these things together really help you make a better plan in the first place. It helps you understand that, you may want to add a section to this, but there might be something preventing that. Maybe you've got, you don't have a faculty member that can teach it, or maybe you don't have the resources available because the resources have conflicts, and you need to understand all that so that you can more effectively plan the changes that you want to plan for an upcoming term. So with Align with Schedule and putting it right there in the middle of the process, this is sort of what I was talking about a minute ago. It allows you to participate in the collaboration that goes on with these schedule changes. Okay, so when you're planning with Align with Predict, the conversations that you're having are all tracked within the system, right? So we have the ability to add comments, the ability to track change history, et cetera, all baked in. So when it comes time to implement those decisions, that entire thread of changes and comments and collaboration, it's all right there at your fingertips so that you understand what was intended by the changes that are recommended. It allows the person who's making those changes to participate in the conversation, to say, hey, I know we wanted to add a section of this, but this has changed. And I want everyone to understand that the conditions have changed. And what do we do about it now? And do it right there in the app. So it would bring all the people back into the conversation into one place, so that you're able to effectively collaborate on the issue you're trying to solve right now, and with the understanding that's going to create that history, so that the people that come to the course after you can go back and see the history of that, so they're aware of the changes that or they're aware of the decisions that were made historically. So it brings both the planning and the implementation and even the monitoring conversation into one place. It's so critical. Another thing we're going to be bringing in, so if you're in Align, for example, and you open up a course and you click on the Sections tab, what you're going to see is something we think is really exciting, right? And this is a new feature for us. It's student conflict risk heat maps. Now, what we're showing here is a weekly calendar, okay, for ARTS 1301. And you can see the sections laid there on the calendar. And shading the calendar is the risk, right, that the students who need this course are going to have conflicts with the time slot. So let's say you're trying to add a new section to ARTS 1301. You can click on the Sections tab and you can go in here and you can see, Monday at 10 a.m. is probably not the best time to add a section, because it's likely that my students will have a conflict with that, right? Now, this risk data is just that. It's risk data. So we're taking the combined schedules of all the students that we see have demand for this course. And we're taking a look at their schedule and we're saying, where might they have conflicts with this course? And we're bubbling all that information up into this visual so you're able to quickly see where the risk is lowest for them to have conflicts with this particular new section, for example. This data also drives the recommendations that are being presented in Align and Align with Predict, okay? So if you're using Align with Predict and you're looking at your recommendations list, if you've got students that have, or if you've got a course that has the right number of sections, right, you have the right capacity for the demand that we see, but the sections are arranged as such on the calendar that that students aren't going to be able to get that course because they have conflicts, then we'll bubble those things as time change candidates, okay? So that you're aware, like, hey, we're doing the right thing as far as the number of sections offered and the seats we have available. But we've offered them in such a way that it's creating conflicts for students and inherent and in turn bottlenecks for them to get the courses that they need when they need them. Okay, so it's really, really important. We're this time chain, or this conflict risk assessment is happening to populate our recommendation candidates, but it's also happening here for you when you're planning those section changes. And again, I think, you know, to talk about this in the aggregate, right? I've said it before, the most important thing here for us when we talk about adding schedule to Align and Align with Predict is answering this question: is your academic plan possible? We want to be able to match the resourcing that you have to the plan that you have to ensure that you're able to properly fulfill the plan that you're making, right? So as you're going through the planning process, we want you to be able to see at your fingertips, can I actually do the things that I want to do based on the resources we have? And if not, how do I adjust? How do I better provide those resources or reallocate those resources so that we can ensure that our plan is met? So how are we going to do this, right? I think this is where it gets fun. So at Aster Platform, meet calendars, right? So we're going to start delivering calendars to the new Ad Aster platform. So Align with Monitor, or Align with Predict and Monitor, we're bringing calendars to these experiences. Now, since this is our first foray into calendars in the new platform, our new Ad Aster platform, there are a handful of things that we care very deeply about, that we ensure that we get right. And these, you know, are probably pretty obvious things, but it's important for us to ensure that again, that they're at the forefront of our mind when we're making these decisions. Performance, multi-platform support, and what I mean by that is desktop, tablet, mobile support. Standard usage patterns. I don't want you guys to have to relearn how to use calendars in this new world. We're going to stand on the shoulders of design patterns that have been out in the wild forever. So if you've never used an Ad Aster calendar before, it's not going to be a huge learning curve to use them in the new world. And of course, basic search and advanced filtering. We've built advanced filtering into all of our apps in the new framework, which allow you to very specifically tailor your experience to things that you need. That we're going to extend that to our calendars. And this is a pretty fun thing to share. So these are the partners that we're investigating. We have prototypes built to utilize Google Calendar's calendar framework, as well as Microsoft's calendar framework. We are laser focused on ensuring that our calendars play friendly with both of these systems. So as we go forward, as I mentioned before, we want to stand on the shoulders of giants here, okay? These two vendors in particular are really good at managing calendar data, managing calendars in general, and we want to be able to utilize these in a way that lets them be the experts in that space and lets us be the experts in academic planning and academic fulfillment. So we're going to rely on these tools, and we're going to make sure that we integrate with them moving forward in a way that's seamless and and we believe is going to allow you to have a scalable solution across campus and not have to manage multiple calendar types. So as I mentioned before, okay, what we want to offer is the ability for you to manage your sections in Align. So as you're going through your planning process, we want you to have a targeted experience, not only for the courses you care about, but for the sections you care about. We want you to be able to easily see at a glance whether your sections are properly spread throughout the week. So if you're in Align and you click on that sections tab, we want you to be able to tell these things at a glance with an intuitive calendaring experience that you're so familiar with, right? We want you to be able to easily add, update, or cancel sections. And we want to provide all the calendar views that you're so used to in all of your other experiences, right? Your ability to easily see your calendar month by month, or weekly, or daily, or even in list views. List views are going to be important for us. You know, we already have list views in the product today. Those are not going to go away. List views allow you to see things that are more tailored to a list view, things like your online sections. Obviously, online sections don't fit on a calendar very well. They're not relative to time and space. However, if you click on those list views, you'll be able to see all of your online sections right next to your more traditional sections. As I mentioned before, we want to offer the ability for you to do advanced filtering as well as ad hoc searching for a calendar. As you can see here, I've filtered down to accounting, and I'm looking from September 20th to September 26th. Here are the sections for accounting, and here's where they sit. I'm able, if I wanted to do a really quick search for principles of accounting, I could do that search probably just by typing, PRIN into the search field, and it would pull back just those sections. Because we're, as I mentioned, integrating with these other calendar frameworks, it's lightning fast. I don't want to bury the lead there. These calendars are our ability to return calendar data and do it effectively and efficiently is so exciting, and we can't wait to be able to share some of this stuff with you guys. We're also going to provide the ability for you to color these calendar activities. And the exciting thing here is we're able to do this dynamically and allow you to color them by a lot of different parameters. For this example, I've chosen to color this calendar by room. So you can see at a glance, I have 3 different rooms assigned to my psychology department, right? So I've got, for the intro to psychology, the section from Tuesday, Thursday, 8:30 to 9:45, that's in a room. I've got my 4 to 5:15 on Monday in a room. It's in the same room on Tuesday from 10 to 11:15. It allows you to see at a glance how many rooms are involved and where they sit on the calendar. If you wanted to change that to dynamically color these sections by faculty member, by who's teaching it, or even if you've got a more macro view on your calendar, you could see it by subject, et cetera, et cetera. You can tailor the coloring of these calendar events by any parameter that we have on that calendar. So it's pretty flexible in allowing you to see at a glance the things that are important to you. We also, it's critically important for us to provide the ability for you to easily create, edit, and cancel sections, okay? This is something we know how to do very well with Astra Schedule. We're bringing that forward into this new framework so that you can do those section modifications, create new sections and cancel sections in a way that's familiar, in a way that is easy to do and allows you during the planning process to make these changes along the way with a new and intuitive tool to enhance the calendaring experience during the planning process. And lastly, the thing I want to mention is, of course, we are laser focused with this effort to allow you to publish the changes that you're making and align with schedule back to your SIS automatically, okay? We are directly researching ways to do this. We're going to add this as a capability to align with schedule so that when you're making those changes, and keep in mind, align with schedule fits in the middle of a process, okay? And all the tools that are engaged in that process demand data from your SIS to keep them updated, right? And so it's critical for us as we're making changes in Align with Schedule that we get that data back to the SIS so that the other apps are populated with the data that they need to run effectively and provide the data for you that you need to make those decisions. So as I mentioned before, earlier in the presentation, it's critical when making section changes that you understand the history of the conversation and understand the history of the recommendations that have been made up to the implementation process. So when you open up that course, you'll be able to see, when you're looking at your sections, you're able to see the status changes that have happened over time, and of course you're able to see comments that have led to the decisions to add, remove, or edit sections. The last thing I want to mention about this is Align with Schedule is not a pipe dream or something we plan to do in the future. Align with Schedule is in active development today. We have teams actively engaged in building this. It's going to be a core part of our strategy for Q4 and Q1. We're so excited to start rolling out pieces of this in the very near future. And of course, we would love for you all to be engaged in that process. So if you can, and I think I'll touch on this later on, join our session on feedback and why it matters, because it will help you understand different ways that you can get engaged in the planning process for this. This so important piece of the overall planning lifecycle and implementation lifecycle. So now looking ahead, right? Align with Schedule, of course, we're laser focused on providing a unified institution calendar within Ad Astra. We're focused on providing it calendar tools both on desktop and mobile, so you can do calendar management no matter where you are, whether you're at your desk or on the move. And we're also focused on providing enhanced conflict checking, right? So not only time, but faculty conflict checking, student conflict checking, et cetera, et cetera. We want to make sure that all of the moving pieces to providing new sections and modifying sections and canceling them, we want to make sure you understand the impact of all of those decisions. Now, if you've experienced any of our new products, then you're intimately aware of Astrobot, I hope. Astrobot is a quick way to, it's down there in the right-hand corner. It's a little blue button, a little blue robot down there. It's a really quick way for you to gain access to our knowledge base. Astrobot will pre-search the page that you're on, and it will pre-filter the articles that come up when you click on the knowledge base. So you can see here in my preview screenshot over there, I'm on Align, and the articles that have popped up, Align overview, how to use Align, how to use Align with Predict. Astrobot will pre-filter those, and it will sort the knowledge base articles by relevance, but also by popularity. So if you're on that page, it will bubble up to the top contextually the most relevant content for you, so that you can get direct access to overviews and how-tos and help right there in the product without leaving to go to the help site. That said, at the bottom of every article within Astrobot is a link out to the help sites for you to get more context, for you to go participate in the community, et cetera, et cetera. So they piggyback on each other very well. It also allows you to submit support tickets and provide feedback to our engineering and product teams, and then obviously watch tutorials and around our products, right? So we publish tutorials and how-tos out there. You're able to watch them as many times as you want. It will even track, ones you've seen and ones you haven't, to make sure you're not missing anything. And of course, selfishly for me, for my team, and for our engineering groups, thank you so much for the feedback that you all have already submitted through this. We read it every single day. We take every piece of feedback seriously. We meet about all of it. We discuss all of it. And without it, I think we'd be flying blind. So thank you so much for all the feedback that you provide. I couldn't be more grateful for you all taking the effort and helping us make these products better. So what are the takeaways from this session? Obviously, we'd love for you to come visit us at our virtual demo. Last year, if you were at Aspire, up on the third floor, we had kiosks set up for you to come play with the new products. This year, we're doing that virtually. So come join us at our virtual demo. It'll be a virtual meeting where you'll get to get in there and play with the new products, get your hands on them, experience them. We will staff them throughout the conference, so you can ask us any question that you have. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to hear your ideas. And we're definitely excited to get to show you some of this stuff. We also have a few other sessions from our product team. I mentioned this one earlier, but Your Feedback Matters is a session about how we gather your feedback and what we do with it. I'd love to have you join there and hear about different ways to get engaged. We also have an Align with and Monitor session, which talks about the planning process overall and how those tools provide a good a planning suite for you, so to speak, to engage at the beginning of the planning process and then at the end of the planning process during registration. And then lastly, I'd ask if you'd consider joining our user panel. We'll hear more about that in the Your Feedback Matters session. But our user panel is free to join, and it's one of the ways that the product team and the engineering teams interact directly with our customers to get feedback, to help design the products that we're building, general research, and most importantly, probably validation, right? So as we're building these things, previewing them with you, giving you an opportunity to play with them and to engage with those folks to say, this is on the right track, or maybe we need to pivot here or pivot there to get it more in line with what would be valuable for us. We desperately depend on your feedback during that process, and the user panel is one way that we do that. So I encourage everybody to sign up for the user panel. Like I said, we rely on the user panel for feedback, and particularly like Align with Schedule. I mean, this is a new effort we're going into, and having you help pilot that ship is going to be so critical for us. Like all sessions, if you want to provide or if you have questions or you want to provide feedback, jump out to our community, search for Aspire 2020 sessions. There will be a post for this session specifically. Jump into that post, add your thoughts and comments, and like all of them, we'll be out there and we'll respond and engage in that conversation. So jump out there and provide any thoughts that you'd have. We'd love to hear from you. Again, my name is Charlie Strobel. I'm the Director of Product Experience, and you can see my contact information there. I've said this at other sessions, and I mean it sincerely. This will be my fourth Aspire here at Ad Astra. Coming back every year and getting to see everyone's face and getting to chat with everybody is something I treasure. I think the relationship between Ad Astra and its customers is a very special one, and I'm going to miss seeing everyone in person. But that doesn't have to be, the fact that we're virtual doesn't have to stop that conversation. Please reach out to me or my team. We'd love to talk to you about these products. We'd love to get your feedback. Don't hesitate to hit me up over email or message me however it works for you, whether it's through Astrobot or through the community or whatever. I'm at all those places. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how far you've come from last Aspire to this Aspire. I'd love to hear your ideas. I'd love the suggestions on how we can improve. I live for that stuff. So please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. With that, I'll say goodbye. I hope you have a great Aspire. Enjoy the other sessions. Enjoy Aspire. And I can't wait to engage with all of you as we start to build out some of these new cool toys. All right. Thanks, everybody.